morning, everyone, and welcome to Talking Horses. Big A Anthony Stabile, Andy Serling. Kicking off the first week of December here at Aqueduct. We are fast and firm. 9-race card today, pick 6 carryover as well. Lots to talk about as we head towards the final Grade 1 of 2021, the Cigar Mile. There are how many Grade 1s left to be run this year in America? I think I know.
3.
Incorrect.
No, wait, including Cigar? I'll say 4.
Incorrect. You're forgetting the Starlet. The Starlet's definitely a Grade 1.
I forgot the Starlet. The other one's not.
The Los Al Futurity is no longer
more.
a Grade 1?
No.
Starlet's got quite a field Saturday. I was looking at this morning, so that would make 5.
Right. La Brea, Malibu, Cigar. La Brea, Malibu, Cigar.
We'll be here a while until he figures that out. The American Oaks.
American
Anyway,
Oaks, right.
Let's head over to NYRA Bets. If you're not a member of NYRA Bets, no better time than the present to become a member of NYRA Bets. I didn't realize we were starting. I still had a lifesaver in my mouth. Wouldn't really matter. I could have known and I would have done it anyway. Anyway, use the promo code BONUS200 and we will match the $200 of your initial deposit. Play through NYRA Bets. Keep the money in the game and support racing in New York. Carryover, we mentioned the pick 6, $68,000, just $3 under $68,500. Today's card that begins in race number 4. We haven't had a lot of 9-race cards.
No.
This is the first time we've started the show at 11:05 in quite a while, actually.
It is, thankfully.
Yeah, Cigar. Well, I've been here since round 3 this morning. Cigar Mile Challenge, close. Cigar Mile Challenge, there are 2 NHC seats up for grabs. Also, an entry into the $10,000 buy-in Belmont Stakes Challenge seat, all available. $3,000 buy-in. You have until probably tomorrow at 5, I assume the normal time. Go to NYRA.com/contest for more information on that.
Yeah, it was different having a little more time this morning.
And finally, America's Day of the Race is 12 to 4:30 today, kicking off just shortly after the show. Race number 1. Number 1's a funny race because I think there's arguments about who the horse to beat is. Now, obviously, the outside horse is not going to be 3 to 5 at post time. You've got Waxman second. I've got him 4th. I don't like this horse, Anthony.
You know, Andy, I didn't really know what to do with him. I'll tell you what, I think it's hard to really dismiss any of these horses. I thought this was a real interesting way to kick off the week.
No, I don't. The 3 is.
Yeah, he's a little tough, but I mean.
No, I don't disagree with that.
I mean, he's first time Lasix and stretching out for his second start.
He can't beat this field, but
she's
anyway.
not supposed to. Waxman's weird because
he's a she, she's a he.
Yeah, Waxman's weird because if everybody's waiting for him to run back to that first race. And it's starting to appear like the first race is going to be the exception as opposed to the rule. But now he gets the equipment change, and I think they're going to give him one more chance to wake up.
Well, obviously, they're going to give him as many chances they give him. His first race was very good. He runs his first race, going to win here. The problem is he runs his next 2 races, he's not. And I know his last race is a strange race because he appeared to just be completely and totally plummeting towards the back of the pack like he was going to finish last. And he re-rallied to beat Rock Sugar. And I liked Rock Sugar last time. I thought he couldn't have been worse in there. He does get a positive rider change to Joel Rosario. But I wasn't enamored by him. And I mean, I guess you can hope that the blinkers, you know, they solve whatever is going on with Waxman. But that to me is a real wing and a prayer at a short price.
At a short price. He's
right.
And he's going to be under 2 to 1.
And probably, I guess. I mean, I don't know. I'm not sure. I mean,
well, he's 3 to 5 right now. I know it's early, but I
pool.
can't imagine he's going to be higher than that 8 to 5. I think David has the. This is a tough line because you don't know about American Law coming back and Mandatory coming back.
Well, Mandatory will take a look at his race 2 back, his last dirt race. Honestly, if he runs this race, he's going to be very tough to beat.
Yep.
The problem is, and I'll show it afterwards, Kimmel has horrendous numbers off of layoffs. I looked up because it's a 7-month layoff, so I went 5 to 9 months in the layoffs, and his numbers are just terrible. So I think there is a real question of whether or not you can expect this horse to run well off the layoff. It's not the only good race he ran. He's had some trips, he's had some excuses in his races, and I know he's got a lot of buyers in the 60s, but I think his races are better than that. But you can show the stat now. I know you were eager to show it before, Francisco, when we weren't on the show. But, you know, we'll take a break and we'll wait. There we go. It's just, I see these numbers,
that's a rough
and
number.
it's like, man, 0 for 19, 6 hitting the board.
That's
but
rough.
Having said that, he can win.
He absolutely can win. And could find himself on the lead in here. See,
Well, the question becomes whether or not you think Waxman's going to show more speed with
Right.
the blinkers. That's the question. Because if
Right.
Waxman is live, he's going to be forward.
he should. Yes, I agree with that.
Well, he's the speed
Right.
if he's live, you know. So in American Law, another horse who ran better races on the dirt, he's also had his share of chances. So why did you go to Rational
I
Choice?
think that's my problem with American Law because I thought about putting him on top as well. You know, Rational Choice is a horse I know the barn liked that last year. I thought he ran well enough in
did?
his first. Yeah.
I'm not so sure that he was a big story horse, but okay.
I didn't say he was a huge story. I bet him first time. I was told to bet on him first time, and
Okay.
he ran into the Todd Pletcher buzzsaw that.
I'm not sure who
that
told you to bet him
galloped.
first time, but I wouldn't listen to them next time they tell you to bet him.
Okay. And then, you know, obviously something went amiss on the slop because we haven't seen him now for 13 and a half months. But I thought his race first time. He's a little bit of a fuzzy in here because he's a horse that's going to be, I think, lost in the shuffle on the
So
top
you
board.
like him because you had a story on him first time? Is that what you're...
I bet on him first time. I heard on him first time. Obviously something went wrong last time, and he's a little bit of a different look to some horses where, you know, I mean, I think it's him and Waxman, but Waxman's going to be too short
You
of a...
just told us you thought anyone would win the
I do,
race.
but
Now
what
you
I'm
think it's him
saying
and
is,
Waxman.
I think they're the two horses that are most likely going to win this race because the others have kind of had enough chances for me. Waxman with the blinkers can wake up. This horse, oh, you haven't seen him in 13 and a half months. I think they're the two most interesting horses, and obviously he becomes more interesting because he'll be 3 times the price of Waxman. So,
Okay, I didn't see it the way you did. I like Rational Choice because you're talking about a horse who's a 2-year-old in his debut that ran a 68 Beyer first time out. And I don't think it's unreasonable to think with the improvement over a 14 to 15 month period he's been out that he could certainly improve 10 or more points from there. So I think it's not unreasonable for him to run an 80 and it'll be a better price. He also gets Lasix. He couldn't run as a 2-year-old. And Chad Brown's numbers are good enough from a percentage term off of long layoffs to suggest that if you've got a horse that's going to be 7-2, 4-1, you're getting paid if they win. He wins at almost 30%. 250-day plus layoffs and dirt routes, he's 12 for 40, 30%. Now the ROI is $1.52 because the horses are short prices. But this is not a horse. It's a horse that he wins at 30% of the time. You're going to make money with him because he'll probably be in the 7-2 to 5-1 range. So I thought his price would be okay, and he ran well enough with routine improvement that he could win here. But I agree with your initial assumption. Other than Scalding, who, if he wins, he's going to pay a big price, everybody else in here, there's an argument that they could win. Race number 2. Race number 2 is a funny race. And, you know, we'll take a look at the last 3 ace of the Grudge Social World fetching race. And I am concerned that Grudge gets loose in the lead in here because her race wasn't bad last time on the turf. The problem was she was almost 20-1. I thought that Social World, who kind of got stayed a little bit in the middle of the race, I thought she lost a lot of position in the race. I'm wondering what Fetching's going to do because Fetching does get blinkers on and has bore out terribly in 2 straight starts. And if Fetching is able to be in control, I mean, much like the favorite Wax in the first race, if Fetching doesn't get some ridiculous trip, she can win this race. She's good enough. So I was going to focus on Social World and Fetching out of here, but I am a little scared the 9's going to wire the field.
I thought Get the Candy could put enough pressure on Grudge. And from the inside...
Grudge went fast last time, Anthony, and she still won.
I know she did.
It's not like she was gifted that race. I mean, the actual fractions in that race were 21.6 and 44.8. So it wasn't like they were just walking on the front end last
Well, the
time.
inside filly's not that slow.
I didn't say she was that slow. I didn't say she'd be that far off of it, but it's not like the 9 was gifted the lead last time.
No, I
the
got
9
you.
set legitimate when
On the
she
turf
won
you're talking about, yeah.
her last turf race. It's
Right.
not like she didn't set a legitimate pace in there.
No, she's in fantastic form since the layoff. I mean, she's gotten beat 3/4 of a length twice. Don't get me wrong. I have a 4th, but I too think that I think from the rail, Get the Candy almost has to be on a
She
send.
probably goes.
Yeah.
The other horse is faster. It doesn't mean that she is going to clear her, but she is pretty quick. And I don't understand why Dylan wouldn't be aggressive again and try to clear her like the time before. I don't love her. I think that the 3 Social World is logical. She's run some good races, and I just didn't think she got the best of trips last time.
Right. She didn't get the best trips last time. We'll see how it works out today. She probably could use some help from Get the Candy. I thought Show Me the Honey.
Well,
was
she
a
can
little
also be
interesting.
closer. See, I think it's up to Javier to be a bit closer with her because she is a horse that has speed.
Yeah.
Social
Right. Yeah.
World.
Earlier on, earlier in late
She
spring,
doesn't
early
have to
summer.
be that far back.
No, she doesn't.
And I think you have to. I don't think they respected the 9 speed in that turf race, and now they have to respect it. As far as Show Me the Honey, we'll show her last race. I don't like her at all in this race. Why do you like her?
Well, when you kind of pick her form apart a little bit, she runs well enough, even though it's a slow race. I mean, it's 2-year-olds on the turf. She breaks a maiden. Then they run her open company in the stakes race. She got a good trip. The inside was good. She rode the inside. Okay, comes off the layoff. She runs at the sports model twice.
Well, Sports Miles what? Some superstar?
No, but sports models, she's made some money and she's
She didn't run
won
well
some
in those races. I mean, she had an absolutely perfect trip in this
did.
race, going 7
She did.
furlongs, and now she's in a race where she's got to go 6. I mean, you're very distance conscious.
But can't you argue that maybe she gets a little?
I don't like her. I don't think she's good enough. We disagree.
She's supposed to get more pace than she's ever
I
seen.
don't like her. I don't think she's good enough. We
Okay.
disagree. It's fine.
Yeah.
Doesn't make me right.
I thought she was a little interesting in here.
Okay. I think the 7's a little interesting in here, going to the turf. The Dam did win on the turf. She was probably a better dirt horse, but she did produce a horse that won on the turf, a couple of them that ran 70 buyers or so. And, she has shown some flashes of some ability, so I'm going to throw her in a little bit as well. But the horse I want to get and try to get in here at a price is Fetching. She's developed some bad habits. I'm hopeful that maybe the blinkers, she won't drift as much. I think she is going to be a bit of a price, and there is no question that if she's able to run one of her good races, she can win this race.
Okay.
But the 3rd race was an extremely, extremely tricky race in here. You have gone to the 6. Hit the nail. Go
I
ahead.
went back to Hit the Nail off the outside draws in our last 2. Gets a little post relief in here. I don't love betting these horses coming out of the claiming races back into the special races. But the truth of the matter is, it's almost the entire field. Everybody in this field, except the number 3, Saluki, has run for a tag.
These are maiden claimers. This is
maiden
not a
claimers.
maiden
Correct.
special. It's a
So-
fake maiden special.
Right. The fact that she's lost any kind of tactical speed she had. Now they went a lot faster in her last 2, and maybe
Who are we talking about? Hit
we're
the
talking
Nail.
about Hit the Nail.
She never had a lot of speed.
It doesn't look like there's anywhere near as fast a pace supposed to set up in here. So I'm hoping she's a little bit closer. I'm hoping the post relief helps. Wheeling her back quick, that's not surprising with turf season
Isn't the
coming to
one
an
the
end.
speed in this race?
You would assume the
Ant?
one's the speed, and I would imagine.
She's also got turf pedigree, the one. I know
yeah.
she's a Normandy Invasion, but she's got a Dam was pretty darn good in the turf. She's going to go.
Yeah, she's supposed to go. She's supposed to go.
Yeah, I'm a little sick of the crew we're looking at here.
Mm-hmm.
Lady Thornhill out of sight, but I do like Duck Fat out of this race. And I think if you look at this race, this is the November 11th race, the horse you probably want is Duck Fat. Because Duck Fat went 2 or 3 wide in the backstretch after being inside in the turn, and then was 3 wide in the second turn and 4 wide in the stretch, and she actually ran a little bit, whereas Lady Thornhill on the rail until she angled out in the stretch. Okay, this was the other horse, out of sight, on the rail, angled the 2-path in the stretch. Both of them spent the majority of the time on the rail, and Duck Fat didn't. And I want horses that were against the track. And do I love Duck Fat? No, but I think her race 2 back is good enough to win this race. She finished just behind Out of Sight. And I'm just sick and tired of these horses, frankly. And I mean, I feel like Out of Sight and Lady Thornhill have had plenty of chances in races where they were logical, and they've gotten good trips, and they just haven't been able to seal the deal. I can't take Saluki. I know it's a rider change to Trevor McCarthy, but she's never run particularly well on the turf. Exfiltration, she was a little wide last time, but she didn't do much running in there. Where else am I supposed to go in here?
I have no idea.
So I'm going to take Duck Fat at a bit of a price in here. I'll use Hit the Nail. I don't disagree with you. Problem with Hit the Nail is she too has had her chances. She wasn't good last time.
No, she was not good last time.
You know,
I don't disagree, but
that
I'm just
race
hoping...
was falling apart at the end, and she was a little wide, but I mean, she didn't.
I'm
really
hoping just the
run.
over. Yeah, I mean, there's not. I don't know.
Duck Fat's the interesting horse
I
because
guess.
she was the horse. Well, she's the horse out of that race that was against the track, and for me, that makes her an automatic play, especially in a race where I just don't like anybody else.
Frustrating race to handicap just because you're kind of sick and tired of seeing all
Yeah,
that.
well, I think that's why you look for options, and that's why I look for a horse like Duck Fat in here. Race number 4 kicks off the pick 6, right? Right, Francisco? $68,000 carryover?
Francisco.
$68,497. And if Radio Days, and we can go right to the replay, Francisco, Radio Days, if Radio Days doesn't win this race, are we immediate favorite for a carryover? Because about 85 to 90% of the pool is going to be eliminated. I mean,
And this is a combination, right? As well as she ran first time out and
Was the
what
slop,
she's
but
running against here today.
I agree.
Oof.
I agree.
I mean, I don't know. This is a
She can
race
run
where
6 race lengths worse and still win by 3.
this is a race where you can honestly say, if you don't want her, where are you going to go?
I agree. No, I agree. I don't know what you're supposed to do in this race.
No idea. The only horse, and she'd have to improve so much to win.
Who are we talking about?
Is the 3 Boss Lady Kim? I mean, she was slow when she broke her maiden, and they threw her to the
Well, her
proverbial
last race
wolves.
wasn't bad.
Her last race wasn't bad. I mean, but
That figure holds up.
You want to make a case for her?
No, I agree. She'd have to improve.
But
She'd have to improve
5
she'd have
lengths,
to improve
right?
3 to 4 lengths, and the other horse, Radio Days, would have to step back 5 or 6 lengths for it to be competitive. I don't disagree. I mean, Frosty Brew, I know she went out of town. They tried the Frizette, but Frizette suggests that she's as slow as her first race,
Right.
and
Waterworks
that fig
was
on
off the-
Waterworks 2 back,
off
it
the
just
turf.
doesn't hold up. And I agree.
I'm 4-3. Oh, there they are. Okay. Yeah, I mean, I don't know what you're supposed to do.
No, I agree. Radio Days is a horse that in all the multis, people will be leaning on very, very
But
heavily.
you're right, Andy. If she gets beat,
There will be a lot
That
of
pick 6
A lot of money has gone from the pool.
Yeah, a lot of money's gone.
That's no question about it. Race number 5. The race number 5 is an interesting race. I'm sorry that Bucker 2 scratched because I didn't think that horse had a prayer in here and would have taken some money. I think the race is sort of about betting against Sandrone, and it was about betting against Bucker 2. We'll start out with a replay involving Sandrone finishing 3rd. And Sandrone, at least in Sandrone's benefit, was off the rail in here, and the rail was very strong. But I want to show the 9, My Friend Duke, who was a first-time star for Dave Donk. This was a gold rail day, and broke a step slow. Where is this horse right now? What number is this horse? The 9, I believe, is outside.
the
It's about
maroon
3
cap on
wide.
the
No, it's
outside.
about 4th from last. It could have blocked by, is that like the 6 maybe inside of her right
Yeah.
there? And you see her moving up on the outside, and she actually got bet in there. You don't see a lot of Dave Donk. 12-horse field,
6 to
first
1.
6 to 1. And that's a lot of money. And this horse was just completely taken out of the race. Now, in fairness to Sandrone, she was not on the rail. She actually ran okay in here. And the only reason that Bucker 2 got second, and I needed Bucker 2 for second, was that she got down on the inside and she came back on the inside. But you'll see My Friend Duke, if we can highlight her again, she's in those sort of lightest silks on the outside, very wide. She had an absolute no chance trip in this race. And she's passing horses in the stretch and actually ends up running 4th, or he is, excuse me. And I thought this was an excellent effort considering the trip in here and coming right back. I like My Friend Duke to win this race.
Okay, yeah.
Very, very interesting
Yeah,
horse in here.
definitely a player.
I know. I also think a horse that's very, very dangerous in this race is the 4 Built to Last. There's a horse that Maggie liked in the paddock last time out and showed speed, so could be speed here. The dam handled the turf. I think she was a Chad Brown horse, actually. She was 3rd in 2 starts. Second dam was very good on the turf. This is the first foal, is a Freud. I think this horse, because this race, it's not like either the 9 or 10, the Strangers or the 5 are particularly good. And I think it's crying out for a Stranger. Now, the horse that I think will take some attention, I don't disagree, I'm going to use is Red Fortress, and we'll show you some of this retro with Red Fortress. Why do you like her in here?
Yeah, I'm just hoping that this horse, like a lot of Linda Rice first-time starters, improved second time 1 and 2.
Replay,
They
Francisco,
usually
please.
show, for the lack of a better term, more speed, are more forward. So
Okay. I think this is an interesting horse because, and not because Linda, because her numbers were second-time stars in the turf are just okay. This horse was lugging in extremely badly. Unfortunately, they don't have the replay. But after breaking a half slow, this horse dropped back significantly in the race. And this horse was lugging in very, very badly. And Jose Lezcano was having enormous problems, not his own doing, on a horse who was very green in the stretch. Has now had a month and a half since that race, 6 weeks since that race or more. And I think there's a reasonable chance that Linda's probably got this horse a little more straightened out, as you often see with anybody's first-time stars. And Red Fortress is a horse that you would probably like based on that trip, regardless of who trains the horse. Linda, obviously, as you say, better second time out. Though the turf numbers, I don't think as good as the dirt numbers. You have Bustin' Up in here second.
I do. Firster for Robbie Falcone. Dan was 13 for 78 overall, 7 for 36 on the lawn. Got the bullet out of the gate. The interesting horse pedigree that the interesting pedigree that draws in is the number 12, Ripe for Mischief, who gets in off the AE list half to my.
Can we finish Bustin' Up? My concern with Bustin' Up is that there are two foals that tried the turf, and at least one, if not both, were foals, and they did not run a step. That's what concerns me. Is there a tip on this horse?
No, not at all. I found it curious too because I saw that, and then you see the Bustin' Stones, and there's not really a lot of turf influence there. Yet this horse is debuting on the turf. Now, this could very well be
because the horse can't run in the dirt.
Well, perhaps.
The thing about the 12 Ripe for Mischief, and I'm glad you brought him up, is yeah, he's got a big pedigree. He's after Runaway Rumor, Scuttlebuzz, My Heart Belongs to Daddy, and he's a more than ready. Yet he only sold for $75,000 as a New York bred with that kind of pedigree.
Best turf influence of all four of the sires, because those are the only three foals, by the way.
I know, and they're all good turf horses.
They're all good turf horses.
And this horse only sold for $75,000. The sales work of 10 2/5 was not particularly impressive, but the sales price kind of concerned me. And I know Larry Goichman sells a lot of the colts. Mm-hmm. Why not keep this horse, that pedigree? You breed to More Than Ready for $65,000. Yep. Probably standing for more when they bred to him. Actually, he's probably come down in price.
Correct.
So that's not that purchase price bothered me, but it is important that he got in. I'm glad you mentioned he got in because he is the most interesting pedigree.
He's the pedigree. He's the pedigree horse.
There are plenty of pedigree horses in the race, but he is the standout pedigree of them. I agree with that. We'll take a break. We'll be back with the late pick 4.
No sport in the world brings the wins home like racing. It's one-of-a-kind, high-speed, high-stakes action, and Naira Bets takes you there. Place your bets and watch the races live from anywhere. With Naira Bets, make easy, secure deposits and promotions every day to earn reward points or cash. Download the Naira Bets app or visit NairaBets.com.
Welcome back to Talking Horses. Anthony Stabile, Andy Serling. Pick 6 carryover, 68,473. Starts in race 4. We'll talk about the late pick 4 starting in race 6. We'll show the replay of the horse you have on top, Big Al's Gal. Have at it.
Yeah, you know, this is a kind of, cop-out is the wrong word. Comes off the claim for Rob Atras last time and just blows the doors off the field of a 35 beaten Claimant field. She did not beat much. And this was another one.
Field.
It was a horrible field. Horrible field.
I'm assuming you picked this horse because Rob Atras' horse has been running well.
I mean, that was really it. I mean, Rob's horses are running. This horse obviously responded well. One of the best races of her career for him. I know it could have been dressed up by the wet track. See, the thing with me with the wet track was her other wet track races weren't that good. And I think maybe in spite of the wet track, she just ran last time. And his horses are running really well.
I wouldn't say in spite of the wet track.
I did not have a ton of confidence in any of these.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of hers. I mean, she could win, and I agree. This is a race where I could use a lot of horses. I think the 2, 5, 6, 7, and 8 all can win this race. I didn't want her at a short price. I know Rob's horses have been running through walls. There's no doubt about it. And for that reason, I am scared of this horse. If it wasn't for that, I wouldn't like this horse at all. This is a significantly better field than the one she met last time. Chloe Rose, we'll take a look at her. I mean, speaking of a guy whose horses are running through walls, Gustavo Rodriguez, just took out, just went out on his own. He's been working with his brother Rudy for years. He had that horse last week that ran second with Trevor, but that horse ran huge to run second. It was the race that
The 7.
Rudy Rod won, the
Yeah.
7 horse. And they bet that horse like they
American
knew.
Gentleman?
Yeah, American Gentleman off of 3 absolutely
Putrid,
horrific,
I mean, horrible
awful,
efforts.
right.
Yep.
Horse could have been 80-1 off those races, off the claim. And I mean, you know, I agree with you about Rob Atras, but I'm scared of any horse
Dangerous.
that Gustavo Rodriguez is starting because he's had a number of horses that have run surprisingly well. And listen, this is a horse, I mean, this was one of them off the claim. Where
Yeah.
did this race come from?
No.
And we saw one at Belmont where he won with an somewhat improbable horse, Hammer and Hammer, then came back in an absolutely impossible spot and just buried the field. So I'm scared this horse could
Yeah.
come back. You don't like this horse, huh?
I have him I got a 4th.
You've got to be behind Moonrock. What's the
you know,
Moonrock thing?
So here's the Moonrock thing.
No chance on paper.
Well, yeah, I don't know if I disagree with that, which sounds ridiculous, but let me ask you this: horse is 2 for 2,
So what?
one on both. Let me hear me out for a minute. One on both surfaces. I don't like the fact that the horse won a special weight race and they ran the horse in for.
The horse ran a 5-furlong race
I
down and
the
got
whole
a 59
thing.
buyer.
But Andy, let me ask you a question. This guy, Claudio Gonzalez, I know his numbers in New York aren't as good as they are out of town.
Well, I'll tell you what they are, since you asked. They're 4 for 32 with $1.25 ROI.
What is she going to have to be? We just got done. Do you really trust any of the? How many?
Yeah, I do.
Okay.
I do.
All
I
right.
actually think there's horses in this race. There's 4 to 5 horses that are 4 lengths or 5 lengths faster
Okay.
than her. So no, I didn't get her. And I think that, you know, she's 4-1 morning line. And to me, she's a 15-1 shot. Now, if she wins this race and pays $10, I'll be very happy that I didn't have her because I wouldn't go near her. If she were 12-1 and somebody told me they liked her, I'd say, well,
Well, I didn't have the morning
she's
line.
gotta
I don't
improve-
think
she's
she'll be
gotta-
that short.
I'll believe in David Aragona. I'm not going to cherry pick. I'll believe in him. I think a lot of people pick this horse, Anthony. You're not the only person who likes
okay.
this horse. A lot of people pick this horse. So I don't think this horse is going to be a big price. I mean, I think Electric Youth is dangerous off the claim for Rudy. I don't like Rosie's Peach because she got very lucky last time and she was bet like she couldn't lose.
And where'd that thing? Where'd
Well,
that
that's a
number come
trainer's
from?
horses were jumping up and running
Yep.
when they were getting bet. But Antonio Arriaga is very good off the claim. But what he is much better off the claim with routers than sprinters.
Okay.
His numbers with routers are exceptional. He's 7 for 21 with routers. He's 5 for 41 with sprinters for what it's worth. And the ROI is significantly lower than $2. I took Cadeau Pay because the one thing I'd say about her is, unlike Big Al's Gal and Rosie's Peach, and you hit on it, and Chloe Rose, she's got PPs that are littered with races. She's consistently good enough to win this
There
race.
aren't these one fig.
Right, it's not like
last
she's
time
running
was the
56s,
time.
58s.
Right.
She's running them, and you know maybe she just needed a little break, and she got 3 months off, and maybe the idea was, you know what? She's been running for an awfully long time, right? She had run 10 races starting in January, and maybe the idea was let's give her a little bit of a break
Yep.
and run her at Aqueduct. You know what I mean? I don't know that that's the story. For all I know, she had some sort of issue, but she was working the whole time, pretty much. So maybe they were just sort of giving her a little time to rest up for Aqueduct. Do I love her? No, but
No.
she's not going to be that short a price. And at least with her, I don't feel like I'm, you know,
You're
like, I
getting
feel like
some
she's got
consistency.
5 or 6 races that can win this race. Somebody else will pop up and run a faster figure than her, and she'll run second. But I
But
don't know.
you kind of know what she's going to bring to the table,
I hope I do, but I think
and she's going to be the right price.
she's consistent. We'll see. It's a very tricky race. I struggled with this race. Race number 7. So we'll start out with what was the toughest beat of the year until Side Dog somehow won that photo over the weekend here on Saturday. And we'll take a look at Alley Oop Johnny at Saratoga losing by a nose to Smile Bryan and the worst, unluckiest Bobs of all time. I think the question is how confident you are that Eric Cancel is going to be loose with this horse, or if you're worried that Ario is going to get an aggressive ride from Kendrick and maybe is a faster horse than the turf, though I think that Alley Oop Johnny is a faster horse early. And to me, Eric has no choice. He's got to go. If somebody's going to go, if he doesn't get the lead, he's not winning. So he's got to go.
That's a pit, right. That we know that.
He's got to go.
And
it's not. I mean, it's not Eric's fault. He's got to go.
with inside position on Ario, you'd like to think you're going to be aggressive enough to hold on to.
Well, he
to-
will
to
be
hold that
aggressive.
position.
You just have to worry, is somebody else going to go on a bit of a mission? But the reality of Alley Oop Johnny is, since that race we looked at there, he has been running against much better fields.
Yeah, significantly better, especially 2 and 3 back, and then after the Monmouth miscue, he
didn't
gets
run
the
badly
freshening.
last time.
Yeah. Right, he didn't run that down.
No,
last
I
time.
think he's a super logical horse. I assume he's going to be a reasonably short price. Now, are you worried? We'll take a look at Ario. Are you worried about this horse from a talent level? And are you worried that Kendrick is going to make sure he's sitting right on top of
This horse ran well off second off the 8 months last time, first time to the turf. I mean, he was able to, control a decent enough pace. He came home nicely. Tell you what, he came home in 12 seconds. And
what do you make of this horse dropping in for 35?
that's
so
what
quickly?
bothered me.
Well, right. But then
That's what
again,
bothers
there's
me.
no turf racing, and maybe Marshall, but it does seem like this horse runs the best race of his career, late in the 3-year-old year. I'm not sure what the hurry to drop this horse is.
Does 10 strikes send horses to fairgrounds?
Probably.
Right, that's what I mean.
They do
There
go
are
along
options.
with a lot of horses, though. But yeah, there are. I mean, maybe the feeling is, well, he can become eligible for starters by running here, and you want to roll the dice a little bit
Right.
that
And take
nobody's
him out
going to
of
claim
town,
this horse.
maybe.
And you know
Yeah.
what? I guess they've made a little money with him. He's made almost $60,000 this year. Maybe he gets claimed and they get the purse. They can move on. I guess it's okay. A little weird though. He's dropping
Yeah,
here
a little
because they are
strange.
begging people to claim him.
Because it's weird. It's
Not a 5-year-old. He's not a.
because it's off 2 races. Right, it's off a dirt win in the maiden special and then a turf win in the
Run along
allowance.
the dirt.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's a weird. The way horses get claimed around here.
I think this horse is probably getting claimed. I wonder what Marshall probably thinks he is too. Listen, he's a smart guy, so I'm not. But it bothered me a little. But I think the horse is dangerous
Yeah,
in here.
definitely.
There
It's
are,
certainly not. You're certainly not going to lean on an alley-oop Johnny in
there
here
are
because
other horses in here that are usable. Fingal is dangerous. Fingal is also, you look at Fingal's last turf race, he ran behind Hilliard and High Tide and Molino. All those horses would fit well in here. And I didn't do much running, but I don't think he's impossible in there. Now, I have no idea how you could have the 9 third and Reckless Spirit nowhere in there, because the two of them come out of the same race on October 15th. Which was an absolutely paceless race. It's the last turf race for Frontman and the last race for Reckless Spirit. There was no pace at all. Frontman was right on top of the pace and finished 4th beat and a half length, whereas Reckless Spirit finished 3/4 lengths behind him, and he was far back behind the complete no pace in there. So to me, it's very clear if you want one of these two, you have to want Reckless Spirit. And I'm hoping the 2 is going to be the favorite. I don't need to pick him on top. He's a speed. It's the horse to beat. And if the pace gets hot, I thought Reckless Spirit was the most likely horse to pick him up. You obviously don't agree.
no, I'm not a fan. I mean, the last
Why?
race. No, his last race was his best race by far over anything else he had run. I don't know if I trust him. I don't really necessarily
ran
trust
it.
Frontman either. I thought Girl Dad was a
Well,
little interesting.
Girl
here.
Dad has absolutely no chance, and we'll make some bets on some lunches in a second. I just want to finish something with Reckless Spirit. Another thing about Reckless Spirit I think is interesting is this horse ran 2 of the faster figures he's ever run on November 22nd and December 4th on the turf courses here, on the inner turf. So we know that this is a horse that runs good races at this time of the year on this course, and I think that's important because
Sure.
this is a course that can be a little bit tricky. What could you possibly like about Girl Dad?
I don't know. I thought if the pace got hot, the Girl Dad would be.
Well, they were blistering last time, and he was absolutely
Yeah, I don't know
horrendous.
what happened last time.
He was horrendous. He was
I don't
awful.
know what happened
He
last
saved ground the whole way. He got an absolutely perfect trip and had absolutely no run at any point. And he's not getting a hotter pace than he got last.
He's faced better in his last 2, hasn't he?
I don't
No, I think
know.
he
In the
has.
middle of the pack? No. He was awful last time. He's got to run so much better than he ran. I mean, he's got to be a completely different horse. And, okay, he got that 83 buyer at Keeneland the time before that. Where are his other good races?
All right. So what are we doing?
Oh,
Where are we at?
Yeah, 85.
Okay.
I will bet you 3 lunches that the 7 finishes ahead of the 11, and I'll bet you 3 lunches the 8 finishes ahead of 11. You have them second, and none of those horses in your top 4.
That's fine.
We can bet 2 if you want. 2 per.
3's fine.
Okay, 3 per. 85.
7, 8 over 11 for 3 each.
We over 90 at around 320 today. Race number 8. I don't know about you. I thought race number 8 was extremely difficult.
Yeah. Had a tough time with this one.
Extremely
There were a few races on this card that
Yeah, I think this is a very
Headaches.
hard race. Now, we'll start out with the horse you have on top of Advice and Consent. I'm not picking him on top, but he can win. Why do you like him?
Yeah, this this was another one of these races where he runs into a horse who I think is going to be a stakes horse or is a stakes horse in Kawaimia River first time. And then last
Wait
time.
a second.
It's just.
Kawaimia River just got drowned here the other day.
It was another terrible trip and
Well,
ride.
let me just play it. I don't think Kawaimia River is going to be a stakes horse.
That's fine.
He'd not have a terrible trip.
This was a workmanlike victory, but it was his first start stretching out, and
He was on top of a slow pace, and he won. I think the reason to like him is that North Carolina and the third horse came back and ran very well. Now, the fourth finisher should have won that race. He came back and lost a brutal nose, and he should have won that race as it was. So it's turned out to be a live race. That's the thing to like. But he had a pretty soft trip sitting on top of slow pace.
I know he did, but he's kind of one of these. This race is, for me, littered with horses that I'm kind of sick of.
Well, you've given up on Space
my...
Launch, who finally actually ran okay last time. Now, one thing I don't like about his last race is King Claus won for fun, and it was about a 77-horse photo for second.
Yeah.
So, and Amano's not that good, but I thought he made a certain amount of sense towards the inside.
I guess.
And Advice and Consent, I don't agree with David. Oh, he's got him 5-2. I was thinking he was 7-2.
No, it's 5-2.
He's been 5-2. He's going to be no more than that, and possibly less. And I'm just not sure how good he is.
Okay.
Got an 82 buyer getting a very soft trip. Now, Chad has good percentages off maiden wins in the turf. The 3-year-old numbers are better, but the ROI is around $1.50 because they're shortish prices, and that concerns me. Now, the horse that you have second, I don't like this horse at all. And we'll show you Caveat Emperor's last race. What do you like about this horse?
Well, I know the issue is the big fig came at Kentucky Downs, and I've always been kind of skeptical of these numbers. It was off in April. It was off a 3.5-month break. And,
No, it wasn't.
Oh, this is the last race. I'm sorry. What do I think of the last race? I mean, it's a troublesome race. He's supposed to get the money here.
He was awful in this race. He hung like a chandelier in here, and the problem is, and that's why I'm surprised you picked him, is his one big fig was at Kentucky Downs.
I put him second.
We came up with this. Well, you've got him close, and I think he's horrible, horrible use at 7-2. I don't like this horse at all. And I hope I'm wrong. I like Jimmy Toner. Love to see him do well. But this horse has one good race, and it's Kentucky Downs. And I agree with what you said. You said this about a month or so ago, and you've been absolutely right about this. Kentucky Downs figures just don't hold up over time.
They just don't. Yeah.
And he got a perfect trip. It was a fast pace. His last race is bad. And there's something about that field which, if you look the race up, people know. If you look at that field, the horse who won the race was, I think, 3-1. He was even money. Every other horse in the race was over 11-1. It was an extremely weak field behind this horse. So I know there are no killers in here, but I think these are better horses he's running against. I think he's going to be bet. He has that big fig at Kentucky Downs. Is Carruthers just Bill Mott's got a horse?
Yeah, I didn't know what to do with him. I'm kind of, I may have slept your horse a little bit. You'll get to him. I didn't know what to do with this horse.
Well, Carruthers, well, he's a horse that ran Europe, that never tried turf. Bill Mott with foreign shippers on the turf. He's 2 for 26, 2 for 25 with routers with a 50-cent ROI or a 48-cent ROI. There's not really that much turf pedigree. There's half the one horse who won in the turf. We got a 79 buyer. I didn't like this horse at all, but I guess he's a stranger to the group.
Yeah.
As far as Dancing with Stars, I think David's wrong. I don't believe this horse will be 8-1 in here.
No, he's got to be shorter, right?
I'm not sure how this horse with these. This horse feels like a 4-1 shot, 9-2 shot to me. It's also not. It's post 8. It's not post 10. I mean, this horse lost a grade in the curve. I mean, the other thing is, I didn't think he got the best of rides last time. I don't think the rail was as strong on the inner the first couple of days, but you probably want to be inside. The winner was inside. He was 2 wide in the first turn, 2 wide in the backstretch, 3 wide in the second turn. I thought that Luis just sort of took him outside, which was not the place to be, and I think he legitimized his improvement at Saratoga. Now, I don't disagree that maybe there are some tougher horses in here, but who's so good in here? You know? I mean, hasn't he faced some pretty good horses?
Yeah,
what price would grade in a curve be in this race?
Yeah. No.
You know? I mean, he'd be 4-5 in here.
I probably
less.
stopped this horse. I probably should.
Yeah, I mean, I just think he makes a lot of sense. You know, I mean, Public Information, High Tide got that super fast pace to close into, so they're a little bit dressed up in there. I mean, Lonesome, you got away from Lonesome Fugitive. He may win today. I've got him 4th, Lonesome Fugitive. You finally gave up on him.
Him and Space Launch. I decided that this was my divorce race.
Lonesome Fugitive. Yeah, I know. It's funny. Lonesome Fugitive. He was on the gold rail the whole way last time. Did he get in a little bit of traffic? Yeah. But if he was faster, he would have gone through.
This is like the ultimate Stabiloff exacta box of all time.
2-4.
This box 2-4. I'll make a $5 box for insanity insurance.
I don't know if it's going to be a big enough price that you have to make it. I don't know if Space Launch is going to be 8-1 in this race. I think this race is going to be. I don't think that Caveat Emptor is going to be as short as David thinks. I'll put it this way. I have trouble believing Caveat Emptor will be less than half the price of either the 2 or 10. I may be wrong. And Carruthers at 5-1? Why? Because he's the stranger?
My racehorse too. Maybe
yeah, right. Yeah, they lose their money on these slow horses a lot.
By the way, there's no $5 exacta box at any price that can cover my insanity insurance.
We're almost done. We got to go.
Yeah.
I didn't realize we didn't have much time. Yep. Last race, Authorized going to be a big favorite. I think this horse is very beatable. You've lost on him last time, so you want to lose on him again. Go ahead.
Exactly. I mean, I think
what was his excuse in here?
He's going to control. I mean, he went kind of fast, didn't he?
Maybe, maybe not.
Yeah.
You like the horse to beat him?
No.
Okay.
But
that's a problem.
Like I said,
it's a problem.
He was also like the 3rd winner to come up the rail that day.
Yeah, but he did drift in the stretch Authorized, which obviously hurt him, but he was on the rail before that the whole way, and the rail was the place to be. Gunton Road, meanwhile, was out in the 3-4 path. I think Gunton Road's going to run a lot better in here. Let's just skip the last replay, if you don't mind, Francisco. We were going to show Dr. Levy. You don't like him at all. I got him 4th. He was 25-1 his debut. I like the 6th, Constitutional Lawyer. Constitutional Lawyer, to me, is a very, very interesting second-time star. This horse comes out of a very tough field. I think Mo Donegal and even From Another Mother, the maiden who's in the Remsen, they're both major players in the Remsen on Saturday.
This was the other Ray Handel in the race.
This horse got about as much education out of his debut a horse could get. Now, that bump break is nothing. The horse kissed, but broke about a half slow. The rail was the place to be that day, but he got off the rail pretty quickly. He was outside in the stretch. He was shuffled back at different times. He made 2 different moves in the race. He ate a ton of dirt. I mean, to me, this was a first-time star that really got everything you could want out of that race. And he's going to improve a lot off of that race. And I think Constitutional Lawyer is an extremely interesting horse. Can Authorized win? Yeah, but he's going to be a very short price in here. And at the end of the day, he was a short price in his debut and he lost, and he's now got to go an extra furlong. And I know he's a Curlin, but I am not convinced by any stretch of the imagination this guy has to win this race. He may win, but it feels to me like the 6 and 9 are both viable alternatives to him in horses that you probably want to use. And I'm betting on Constitution Lawyer. We're done. We're out of time. This went so fast. Where did all the time go? 9-race card.
I don't know.
It's a good thing it's not a 10. I got to go upstairs and join Maggie in the show in a few minutes. Naira Bets. Think of all the fun you've had. You got to sign up for Naira Bets. Use the promo code BONUS200. We will match the $200 of your initial deposit. Head on over. We got a pick 6 carryover, $68,497. And what else do we have? Oh, we have the contest, Cigar Mile Challenge. You've got until, we're assuming, Anthony, 5 o'clock tomorrow.
Yeah, that's
5
usually
tomorrow. Usually go to Aqueduct, go to Naira.com/contests, $3,000 buy-in, big contest. There are 2 NHC seats as well as a seat available for the $10,000 Belmont Stakes betting challenge. 12 to 4:30, which means I better get upstairs and do it fast. We're done. We're done. All right.
And that's that.
Anthony will be here tomorrow. You and Greg tomorrow?
I don't know.
I thought you told me, Greg.
It'll be me. I'll be here. And a mystery partner. You'll have to tune in.
Okay. I will be back on Saturday, which will be my last day until December 30th. But I'll be back Saturday. Anthony will be here every other day. Johnny I will also be here. He's up next to reprise Scratches and Changes.
Hello, racing fans, and once again, welcome to Aqueduct. Right now we have a mix of sun and clouds. Again, it is very mild here for the second day of December. Temperature will be in the high 50s. Main track fast, turf course is firm. Portable rails are up at 36 feet on the outer turf and at 27 feet on the inner. And we have a pick 6 carryover of more than $68,000. No changes in today's first race. In the